There are some creators on YouTube whose videos you start watching and you don't even realize when the entire video is over. At first I thought too, maybe their editing is just different. Then I thought, maybe it's the thumbnail, then the script. But one thing kept confusing me, because thousands of creators use the same kind of editing, the same kind of thumbnail, even the same kind of script. So why do only a few creators' videos hold us until the very end? Trying to find the answer to this one question, I analyzed their videos frame by frame, and while analyzing, a pattern emerged that I did not expect at all. And this one thing is exactly what separates their videos from everyone else's. And in this video, I'm going to show you that exact pattern. The one that makes all three of their videos this engaging. When I started watching their videos, one question kept circling in my head. Why is it so hard to click away from their videos? At first I thought maybe this is just happening to me, but after watching video after video, I realized, no, this isn't a coincidence. I would sit down to analyze a video, but a few minutes later I'd notice I had stopped analyzing and was just watching the video. That's when I understood I wasn't going to get the answer this way. Right then, I sat down with a notebook. I watched the same video over and over. Sometimes I paused, sometimes I rewound. The hook, camera changes, B-roll, even where the music changed. I started noting down every small thing I noticed, separately. But the more I analyzed, the more confused I got, because the common pattern I was looking for wasn't matching up anywhere. Callaway's editing is one way, Ali Abdaal's is another way, Iman Gadzhi's is another way entirely. Different thumbnails, different titles, even the topics they talk about are completely different from one another. I got genuinely stuck at that point, because one thing simply wasn't clicking in my head. If not a single part of what these three do is the same, then what is it that makes a person not even notice when the video ended? And it was while chasing the answer to exactly this question that I first noticed something. First, I played one of Callaway's videos. About 20 seconds had passed, and I still didn't know what the video was actually about. Something felt really strange to me here, because usually, if a video doesn't give me a clear idea right at the start, I skip it. But that didn't happen here. Instead, I found myself waiting, okay, so what happens next? I paused the video, then I asked myself a question. Why am I still watching this? At first I thought, maybe this only happens with Callaway. So I opened one of Ali Abdaal's videos. Same thing happened. Here too, nothing was fully explained at the start. Instead, the further the video went, the more I found myself sitting there, waiting to find out what would happen next. The exact same thing happened with Iman Gadzhi's video too. After feeling this same thing a third time, I realized this could no longer be a coincidence. By this point, one thing had become clear to me. No part of how these three work is the same in any way, and yet at one particular point, all three were doing the exact same thing. They weren't giving me the answer, they were making me chase the answer. And from here, my investigation took a completely new turn. I sat for a long time in silence, with the notebook pages of all three creators in front of me, because one thing kept making me think. None of them make videos the same way. Callaway's storytelling is one style. Ali Abdaal speaks very calmly. Iman Gadzhi's pacing is completely different again. But one feeling was the same in all three of their videos. So I ran an experiment, and I looked at exactly how long each creator takes before giving their main answer. The interesting thing was, right at the point where I thought the answer would come, that's exactly where they created a new question instead. Here he could have gone straight to the point, but he didn't. Instead, he added another layer. Ali did the same thing. Before answering the question, he built up more context first. The same pattern showed up in Iman's videos too. At this point, a question came to my mind. Are they doing this on purpose, or is it just a coincidence? Honestly, I still wasn't sure. So I left YouTube and went to Google. I searched, why do unanswered questions keep people interested? And that's where I first came across a psychological concept, curiosity gap. Reading its explanation, I literally sat in silence for a few seconds, because suddenly, all my earlier observations started coming together. Curiosity gap is a very simple thing. When our brain knows half of a question, but doesn't know the full answer, the brain wants to fill in that gap. Say, I came up to you and said, something really strange happened today, and then suddenly switched to a different topic. What would happen then? Until you know what that thing was, that question would keep circling in your head. That's the curiosity gap. And right then I played Callaway's video again. This time I wasn't watching the editing. I was only watching where he was leaving an incomplete question in my head. Ali is doing the same thing. Three creators, three completely different styles, but one psychology, the same. And that's when the entire investigation changed, because the question was no longer, what are they doing? The question became, what are they making us do? But one thing still wasn't letting me settle. If curiosity gap is the entire secret, then anyone should be able to use it. Just leaving an incomplete question should make people keep watching the video. But that's not what happens in reality. Thousands of creators on YouTube try to do the exact same thing, and yet most videos still drop off within 20 to 30 seconds. So where's the difference? I opened the notebook again. This time I wasn't counting questions. I was watching what happens after the question. And that's where the most interesting thing caught my eye. They never leave the viewer hungry for too long. After asking a question, they give a small reward very quickly. Say Callaway asks a big question, but before giving the answer, he says a fact I didn't already know.
Today we're talking about hooks. If you want your videos to perform better, you need to focus on leveling up your hooks. Now look, I've studied literally thousands of videos. And
I still hadn't gotten the main answer, but my brain thought, okay, this wait is worth it. Ali Abdaal does it a different way. He tells a personal story in between, or gives an example that makes you think this happens to me too.
Over the last 8 years of being a, professional content creator. By the way, if you're new here, hello, my name is Ali. I'm a doctor turned entrepreneur.
Meaning the main answer still hadn't arrived, but I had already gotten something new. Iman Gadzhi's approach is a bit different again. He suddenly drops a statement that shifts the entire perspective.
You have to deal with employees and headaches and people are emotional and blah and this and that. And bear in mind, this is coming from someone who employs.
The result is the same. The viewer gets rewarded again. That's when I started noticing a pattern. Question, then reward. Question again, reward again. This exact cycle keeps repeating throughout the entire video. And that's when something clicked in my mind. Say you're watching a series. At the end of every episode, one big question is left hanging. But throughout the episode, you also get answers to many small questions. If the entire episode was filled with nothing but questions, would you watch the next episode? Probably not, because our brain doesn't just like mystery, it likes progress too. It wants to feel, I'm moving forward. And that's exactly what these three creators do. They don't just make the viewer wait. Even while making them wait, they keep giving rewards. So the viewer never feels, I haven't gotten anything this whole time. That's when the whole thing became completely clear to me. They're not just creating curiosity, they're creating a balance between curiosity and reward that pulls the viewer to the very end of the video without them even realizing it. But this isn't where it ends, because one question still remained. If the entire formula is this simple, then why doesn't it work when we try to use it in our own videos? After finishing the whole investigation, one thing kept coming back to my mind. I've never seen Callaway make a video the way Ali Abdaal does, and Ali's videos don't match Iman Gadzhi's in any way either. No part of their work is the same in any way. So the question becomes, then why does our brain react the same way while watching their videos? This is exactly where these three creators' biggest strength lies. They don't follow the same formula. They follow the same principle. When the viewer will feel curious, when they'll feel confused, they think about these things while designing the video. And maybe that's exactly why you can copy a creator's style, but you can't copy their result, because the result comes from the psychology behind that style. I didn't find any magic formula from this investigation. Instead, one thing became clearer. Great creators don't think about the video before making it. They think about what the viewer will feel in the next 10 seconds. Maybe that's exactly why we don't just watch some videos. We unknowingly step inside them. And once this pattern catches your eye, you'll never be able to watch a YouTube video the same way again.